Hey, welcome back to Matter of Fact. We're here to recap the divisional round of the playoffs, banger after banger after banger. Even with the first game, defensive battle for the most part. Both the defenses came to play, showed why they're in the playoffs. Defense matters a lot when it comes to these games. And if you don't have a good defense, and we'll get to a team whose defense kind of let them down, you get booted sooner than you want. But we'll kick it off with the Texans Chiefs. Does the game kind of go how you thought it would, or how you feel about it?
Yeah, for the most part, again, it seems as if CJ Stroud kind of ends up doing his thing during these big games. Houston hung in there for the better part of the first half. It just, at the end of the day, Kansas City's built for this type of game, this scenario. They kind of have, it always ends up working out for them, regardless if it's them catching breaks, just finding ways to get first downs. And Texas just didn't have enough. I mean, they only had one wide receiver. And even though Kansas City had a few DBs get injured during the game, CJ just didn't have enough playmakers. When the second wide receiver on your team is Dalton Schultz and Xavier Hutchinson, it's just going to be a tough day, especially in the playoffs in Kansas City, playing in that weather. So it's kind of just went how it's supposed to go. Texans defense traveled and they tried to make it a game, but again, it just wasn't enough on offense for them to kind of compete with the Chiefs.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for them too, right? Because they tried to have an insurance policy there with Stephon Diggs, and then him and Tank Dell both go down. You hope somebody steps up, whether it's Hutchinson or Mechie or who else you really have to be able to step up. This is why I took the Dalton Schultz prop, because I figured he's going to have to get active. But overall, special teams was a big issue in this game too. When that's not buttoned up, that could kill you. Missed two crucial field goals, and coaching really played a part in this as well. You saw the difference between that like championship DNA, that one egregious play where I think it was like Aikman in the booth saying, I would call a timeout here. I'd call a timeout. You just knew that shit wasn't going to work on fourth down. You just knew it wasn't going to work. And those are the type of like plays in the game that just tells me, yeah, let's just wrap this up. Let me get ready for
Yeah.
this Lions Commanders game, because you're not winning, making decisions like that. Kind of seemed rattled and sporadic. So I mean, it's plays like that. You missing multiple field goals. Comes down to the little things.
Right. And again, if you'll notice, there's a pattern in these wins with some of these winning teams. Especially the ones that are contending for Super Bowls. They they're not throwing the ball like that. They're dictating it. They let the defense put in work.
Yep.
They let the running backs do their thing, and when there's opportunities, they'll take them. But he only attempted 25 passes. This is Pat Mahomes you're talking about. He threw for 177 yards in the playoff game. So and if you're a Houston Texans fan and you heard that going in, you're probably thinking like, okay, I'll take that, not realizing that they don't care about anything flashy. They just try to do what they have to do to win the game, execute. Be in their next division championship game.
Yeah. I mean, going into the second half, if you're Houston, you felt like you played a pretty damn good half. Like, the game felt a lot closer than the score. And I know at the end they took that safety just as a smart football play in terms of clock management, but it felt a lot closer. That's due to some missed opportunities to put some points on the board. But yeah, man. I mean, young team. It's the second year, two playoff wins in 2 years. So shout out to CJ Stroud. It's funny. This was my lock, right? And if you took it later than like when we posted that video, that shit actually covered because of that safety. Because it went
Right.
from 8.5 to 9.5. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, I think a big takeaway from this game as well is like, that defense is legit. Like the Texans, they could continue to be a problem. They keep drafting well. They keep making
Well,
smart
I
playoff
mean,
moves. Free agency moves.
you know, you gotta. They drafted blue chip players back to back years in a row. You know what I'm saying? They got Derek Stingley, one of the best pure cover corners in the NFL, and then a year later they ended up with Will Anderson and the quarterback. You know what I mean? And I think Will Anderson is probably the best young pass rusher, not including Micah in there since Micah. Like Will Anderson is like on that level was just straight record shit like his sophomore year going back to Alabama. And there's guys that come through that have the measurables and there are freak shows, go kill at the combine, but they still haven't put it together kind of like how Will Anderson is. And both of those cats are on the same team. You got a pass rusher and you got a corner. Like it kind of starts there. Every roster, that's where you would want it to start at. The guy that can cover the wide receiver and the guy that's hitting the quarterback.
Yeah, speaking of wrecking the game, George Karlaftis, 3 sacks. I mean, they had 8 sacks in this game. So, they really put that pressure on them. And, you know, what else I want to get to? And then we have to, tip our hat to Travis Kelce. We gotta call him playoff Kelce. They need a name for these type of runs he goes on when the
Yeah, but
playoffs
again,
start.
I mean, it's like out of all the people going in, I'm not even expecting. Like, I'm expecting him to do his thing, but I'm expecting him to work for it. It's like, bro, blown coverage, Travis Kelce. We blowing coverage on Travis Kelce. Like, what are we doing right now? And
So
it's like,
So the thing with Kelsey too, if you're peeping, like his chemistry with Pat Mahomes is like any nothing I've ever seen, right? It's like prime Shaq and Kobe, but on the football field. Because what he's doing is he's just kind of doing like these little choice, like he's just all right, it's not there. I'm gonna go here. And it's like Pat Mahomes knows he's gonna be open, and he just finds the hole in the zone, and it's boom, and then it's just
like on the
funny.
two plays that I'm thinking about, it's like, who were y'all? I mean, I know they got some fast guys on the team, and I'm assuming that was something that was spoke like they were speaking about, like the speed of Marquise Brown and Xavier Worthy. But at the end of the day, bro, are we forgetting? Because in the first play where he went for the 49 yarder or whatever it was, when he went on that run, he was wide open in the middle of the field. It's like, but then you see that 3 people went with whoever ran the out route, and I think it was Marquise Brown. So I'm like, okay, I kind of get it, not really, but like in the sense of like, yo, this fast ass dude's going out here, we got to go out there. I get it, but I'm still not leaving Travis Kelce wide open. And then the second one that's coming to mind is again in the middle of the field, probably off a choice route, but they had cats going left and right, and the Texas defenders are following everybody else. It's like, yo, I get it, you got assignments, but like, why? How are we missing Travis Kelce in the middle of the field? Like, how are we letting this man get open at this particular juncture of the season? Like, fuck the game, the season. Like,
Right.
this is what he do.
You gotta like how it's like when the playoffs start is everything resets, regular season doesn't matter. You gotta look at Kelsey like that. Like, we don't care how slobby and slow he looks in the regular season. He's going to get active, and he does this every year. And it's funny, he be wide open and he always gets so much yak. And it's like, how's nobody catching this nigga, bro?
Like how is he that wide open? I was like, yo, this is 49.
But then he's
yards.
not. But it's not like it's like all right, boom, and then all right, he gets like bro. He's getting like 20 yards a yak, and it's like he's not. And older Kelsey on the play that I'm sure we're both thinking about. That would have been a touchdown right then and there. So I mean, clearly this isn't prime Kelsey, but that's all you need when you have Pat Mahomes. You have all these other options. That's really all you need from him.
You still got to respect the speed of the other players. And it's clear that that's what they were doing. They were respecting, you know what I mean, the people that are quote unquote capable of making a big play. And then now Kelsey's the third person you thinking about keying on. All right, bet.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to call out in this game, though, I think the league got to do something about this, like James Harden type, like Chris Paul, LeBron flopping that he, like I really didn't like that. Now it's similar to the NBA where the people who are able to manipulate the rules in front of them are usually the best players, right? Like when James Harden was taking advantage of drawing all those fouls, that's not easy to do, or everybody would be doing it. You know what I mean? But in terms of this, like it's the easiest to play quarterback right now. Obviously, still the hardest position, but historically, it's the easiest. And it's like, that's got to be like a 10, 15-yard penalty when you know what play I'm talking about, right? When he stops to the sideline and then he like flopped out of bounds, hoping
when
for
they
a
didn't
flag.
call it, the one that
Yeah,
they didn't call,
when they didn't call it.
And it's like, I mean, I'm happy that they didn't call it.
Yeah, same.
But again, because they're never going to. I mean, the most fair thing to do would be to put a rule in for them to be like, if the quarterback flops, then that's a 15-yard penalty on the quarterback. But they're never going to punish the offense like that. And even if they are, they're not calling it for Pat Mahomes, even though we know that he's going to do things to maneuver. I mean, even Josh Allen's big ass tries to do things to get the call, get the roughing the passer call. So it's like that's just part of their protection, and they're going to use it to their advantage. You know what I mean? And the league rather be on the safe side when it comes to the quarterback. So you know what I mean? They're not really going to oppose it or punish the offense for the quarterback trying to game the system. You know what I mean? It's just
I feel you, but something's got to give because
I mean, I agree with that, but I just don't. I totally agree with you, but I just don't think that they're putting those parameters in place. Not for the quarterback. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel you. Last thing before we move on to the next game. How do you feel about all the complaining that the Texans are doing post game, like refs this, refs that? I just felt like I was just like, bruh, like y'all niggas, like I get it. There were some bad calls or whatever, but y'all missed a lot of opportunities. Like y'all weren't beating this Chiefs team, even if those calls weren't made. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but I
Like
mean,
why are we acting like
I get it's annoying, and especially when it's like, all right, y'all, it's okay. Like I always say, Cowboys do this shit. I always say, hey, look, I get it. Y'all see it when we do it. If we did it, so you called it. But you're trying to tell me that they're not doing nothing? They're not doing anything. You're not seeing nothing that they're doing. They playing a perfect brand of football, and it's like, all right, cool. I guess they're just not seeing it. They're just not seeing it. You know, and when the Chiefs play, they see it. They own it, and you know when the Chiefs somehow
eight penalties to 4, so that was 82 yards of penalties to 4 penalties for 29. I mean, I don't know, bro. I'm watching the game. I'm looking at Twitter. People complaining about the refs. Meanwhile, I'm seeing the O line for the Chiefs just bullying these boys, like bullying them. I'm like, the refs have something to do with that too? Is the trench domination happening right now because of the refs?
Well, Jawan Taylor being off sides every single play, kind of like that's annoying. You know what I mean? Like it's. I mean, I can get. Listen, I understand it being annoying, but you got to know that got to be part of the game plan going in. Yo, we playing the Chiefs. We the Chiefs. 1 second, right quick. 1 second. Yo, can you hear me?
Oh, we back, bro.
Yeah.
You saw me on my phone. All right, whatever. What were we saying?
But no, I'm just saying part of the game, like part of the game plan going into the week is you got to know you playing the Chiefs, and it's probably gonna be this way. You know what I mean? Like
I'm not really buying that the refs really be juicing them like.
Oh
that.
no, they statistically proved it.
I saw some stats that with their penalties, they're not even like top 5 when it comes to these penalties, bro.
I'm saying they proved like in the last 10 playoff games or whatever, it's been heavy majority the opposing team is getting penalized significantly more than the Chiefs. Like it's, I mean, let me see. Hold on.
I didn't see the playoff one, but I saw like in terms of this, what I saw was this season. I don't know. I would be fine with the complaining if like I felt like they had a chance to win the game. If the penalties didn't happen, and I just didn't think they were winning, given some of the plays like that fourth down where it was like near the 50, and they did that BS, and you could tell they didn't have a good play dialed up, and they should have took a timeout. And I don't know, man. I just don't want to hear complaining like that, like from the whole team, from the quarterback, the coach,
Right.
the best
No. I
defensive
agree,
player.
and that's what happens when you lose. You know what I mean? Like that's what
Yeah.
happens when they lose. They just they just battled. They played their heart out. The toughest game they ever played, and they just lost a playoff game in Arrowhead.
Yeah,
so that's
that's just human
but
emotion. You got to interview these guys right after a tough loss like that. I get that.
Just to kind of put some like facts to what we were talking about in regards to what I was saying with the penalties or whatever discrepancy. I saw a crazy stat yesterday. This is Warren Sharp at sharpfootball.com. I mean at sharpfootball on X. I saw a crazy stat yesterday on ESPN that I could not believe. The last 4 years over the Chiefs, 11 playoff games, 0 games the Chiefs had more penalties, 10 games opponents had more penalties. So compared to playoff teams, and then just like not getting into all of it, but one of the things he basically said was some interesting penalty differentials that stood out during the Chiefs' last 4 postseason games: 7 roughing the passer on opponents, 1 on Kansas City; 4 unnecessary roughness on opponents, 1 on Kansas City; 11 DPIs on defensive holding on opponents, 2 on Kansas City. That's just some numbers.
Okay.
A little bit of, and just to kind of put some facts behind it. I agree still with the fact that, like, yeah, stop complaining after you just lost, but that's just gonna come with losing a playoff game. But also
those playoff stats are telling. So the stats I was looking at wasn't just the playoffs, but it is more important to look at those playoff stats because these are the big games, right? And these are the legacy definers.
And the DPIs are, I mean, we'll talk about this later, but the DPIs is such a bang bang play, and in this nature, like at this juncture of the season, it's such a big play. That's a free anywhere between 15 to 60 something yards off of a DPI. You know what I mean? Like, so it can get annoying, but again, I feel like you beating the champ, bro. You know it's going to be advantages.
You can't leave it up to the refs.
Yeah,
simple.
when he gets to that point.
Nah. Next game is Lions. All right, so Lions Commanders, upset of the year, maybe upset of the decade potentially. Got the 7 seed. They're the 7 seed, right?
Nah, 6 seed.
6 seed. Who was 7 then? Must have been the Packers. Yeah, it had to be the Packers because they won 11 games.
Two versus 7, 1 versus 6.
Right. Okay, man. Here we go. I mean, you wanna kick this one off? Actually, I'll say this before I let you go. You know who the Lions could use right now?
Who could they use?
Matt Stafford.
I mean, it all comes back to that. It does always come back to that. I mean, this one here is, a spot that I just think that the Commanders were super prepared for. They got a lot of players. They got a lot of players, and also their coaching staff kind of was on the opposite end of this same situation just last year. I mean, I'm talking about literally almost the same exact score. It might be like a few of like, I think it might have been like 30 something to 45, 38 to whatever. Nonetheless, the Lions were the NFL darlings this entire season, going into the offseason, going back into the offseason. And then now, they had the number 1 seed. They did everything that they needed to do, beat all the teams that they needed to beat to clinch number 1 seed.
Even down to week 18.
Yeah, even down to week 18, which could technically be considered their first football game, their playoff football game. And yeah, they're on Monday prepping for this game. They're probably in there. right, we're better than this team. We got more pros in this team. Yeah, they got a rookie quarterback, but we're gonna do this and that, and we're gonna take care of this team. We're gonna move on. Washington is over there like, look, bro. Yeah, they got the high ground, and they're talented. They're clearly more talented than we are on paper. But guess what, bro? They're not about to be as locked in as we are this week. They're not about to be as locked in and as hell bent on figuring out a way to win this football game as we are this week. And I think that they were talking like that in confidence because Dan Quinn was just on the other side of this last year. Joe Witt was just on the other side of this last year. Dorrance Armstrong was just on the other side of this last year. Dante Flower was just on the other side of this last year. So it's like Tyler Biadasz just on the other side of this last year with the Dallas Cowboys, where they were like, hey, yo, we about to smash out the Packers. Packers came through, and we didn't even know what hit us. By the time we figured out what the hell was going on, it was already 21-0. And defense had their guys prepared. I mean, I'm not saying that the Commanders are a talented defense, but they're opportunistic defense. And, on offense, they were executing and they were doing their job against a depleted Lions secondary or defense as a whole. You know what I'm saying? And Aaron Glenn, the thing that we're praising him for is his defensive adjustments with all these injured players and this, that, and the other thing.
You need to readjust. You need to readjust from, and we'll get to like the coaching side of like your comparison with the Cowboys, because I know y'all lost both of your coordinators after that Packers game, right?
Well, we lost the defensive coordinator, and then the offense. Well, Mike McCarthy's technically the offensive coordinator. He's the play caller, but he's gone now. But Kellen Moore, after a playoff game, he was let go after the playoff game in 2022-2023 season. So,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So here's the issue with them, and it's super confusing. Like you said, it's about these defensive adjustments. Now, that Week 18 crucial game where I thought I was like, yo, the Vikings are done. They're not winning the playoff game because the Lions just gave the blueprint on how to stop these guys. Put that pressure on Sam Darnold. He going to see ghosts. And I felt like the stink from that game carried on.
What was the big, I don't know if you remember, but there was something important about that game that kind of changed the game for Sam Darnold. Do you remember that? What that could possibly be in regards to Justin Jefferson?
Nah.
What? Well, Amik Roberson was guarding man-to-man Justin Jefferson. Jay Jettison, he couldn't get off. The second play of the game, I want to say, Amik Roberson is injured. He gets injured. Right. He breaks his forearm.
Yeah, his arm. He's out of the game. That was major when you're already down Carlton Davis. You're already down all these defensive players. So that was major. But exactly. So it made what they did against Sam Darnold is going to be less effective because you're doing those man blitzes, cover zero blitzes, cover one. You're going to need these man-to-man corners, and you can't just replace them with anybody to do that job. Now, the issue with the Lions trying to implement that same strategy and not switching away from that is that Jaden Daniels is pretty much the anti-Darnold. He's the anti-Darnold. He has a lot of poise in the pocket. It's unprecedented for a rookie. Best rookie season ever. I think it's hard to debate that at this point with them knocking off the 1-seed Lions like this. But clearly he wasn't fazed by all these blitzes, sort of like how you would approach like one of these top 5 quarterbacks. What don't you want to do against some of these top 5 quarterbacks? Like a Mahomes, like a Josh Allen, like a Lamar. If you keep blitzing them, they're going to chew you up and tear you apart, and they're going to shred through that defense. That's what Jaden Daniels does. Jaden Daniels not Sam Darnold. Jaden Daniels not out there seeing ghosts.
I don't even think it was a situation where, Jaden Daniels was going through crazy progressions. His first read was always open. So it's like you got to give a shout out to Cliff. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if they going to just blitz, we're going to just have trips over here on this side. We're going to have one-on-one over on this side, and we just going to stack it, and we're going to just run a mesh route underneath. And we're going to just hit the mesh underneath for 3 yards. You know what I mean? And then it's like, all right, on fourth down, they're going to sell out. Okay, we're going to run a play action. And then we got the cornerback peeking in the backfield. And then Jaden Daniels is just walking over here and getting the first down. I mean, it was like they was just the whole team was the discipline that they needed to have and the discipline that they had when they were playing Minnesota and even a week before they played Minnesota, because I want to say that was a pretty tough game that they had to go play too. They had this discipline, and they might have been getting carved up, but at the most important times they were getting stops and sacks, all of this stuff. Well, they already know what you're going to do, or they believe they know what you're going to do. And as a defensive coordinator, you're not mixing anything up. We're not disguising a fake blitz and we, making you pass it. We acting like we're blitzing, we're mudding it up, and then everybody's dropping back into coverage. Like, we're not doing anything. We're just showing you that we man on man and we're blitzing. We're selling out. Well, they're not stupid. They can read that. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury might not be the best offensive coordinator in NFL, but at the same time, he knows how to beat man-to-man blitz. And then you got one-on-one, you blitzing everybody, and you got one-on-one with Terry McLaurin on the screen. He just make one guy miss, and he's walking in.
That was like the play where it was like, yo, they're out coaching the shit out of y'all right now, because that play pretty much summed up how this game went right there.
They got 30 points there, 30 points by half.
Because at a certain point, it's a numbers game, man. You don't have enough people on that side to get past the blockers and stop Terry McLaurin, who's fast as hell. I mean, Terry McLaurin's been getting it done with like 9 different quarterbacks in his NFL career. So I mean,
where the adjustments at? You know what I mean? And it's like, it's no one saying, "Oh, don't man blitz, don't do it whenever you want to do it."
Throwing some zone and try to, you got to divvy it up.
I just don't think, like, I don't have Aaron Glenn doing that this entire football season up until that point. But then it just, it gets tight. Playoff games, it gets tight. And I think for Dan Quinn and his boys, it did get tight. Jared Goff, in a way, kind of turns back into a pumpkin. He's regular route, nothing too crazy. And
he probably had the worst. That was probably like the worst throw of the weekend. That pick.
Yeah, it just sells high on a hitch. Ball goes right into the defender's hands. They run in for a touchdown, but before they run it in, Buddy, what's his name? Luvu smacks Jared Goff. Sets the tone.
I think after that, after he got smacked like that on the pick six, I was like, I feel like that's a game. It just felt like that was a shit. We just legally smacked your quarterback on the pick six.
And he was done after that. You could tell.
We had to put in Bridgewater, who ironically, it's just ironic because he just got done winning the high school championship coaching, and they just signed his ass, which is like, I guess Hendon Hooker is not good. But
no, it's not that Hendon Hooker's not good, but he gets no reps during the NFL season, and then we throw him out there for a playoff game, a must-win playoff game.
That's a great point.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not about his growth, because if they felt that way, he would have never been there the entire season, and they would have been called Teddy. But it's like, yo, Teddy, finish out your football season with the kids, do your thing, and then hit our phone for this playoff run. Like that makes total sense to me.
Nah, it does. I feel that for sure. But besides that, this is another game that showed, like, look, man, you really got to win the turnover battle. Too many turnovers in this game, and we saw that all weekend. Whoever won the turnover battle won the game. They won the game, like, each time. And man, Jared Goff, I feel like now, what's his name? I've seen his name so much these past couple weeks, I'm forgetting. Just went to the Bears.
Ben Johnson?
Yeah, Ben Johnson. Like, bland ass name. But Yeah, Ben Johnson, and we're going to get into some more, but like he's getting praised for assembling a great coaching staff in Chicago already. You know what I mean? And on top of the Teddy Bridgewater signing, and even the JMO play, the pick, which is just like that, those type of decisions is what we expect from the Lions. They do trick plays. Usually they're up when they do these trick plays, so it's not as bad. But that, I mean, shit, that was actually game over with that. I kind of felt like a part of the reason why, for one, the Raiders job didn't make a lot of sense for them. I think it's just like, look, I don't know, like Dan Campbell said last year, there's no guarantee we'll get here again. I think Ben Johnson's thinking, look, there's a ceiling with Jared Goff. So I'm gonna dial up a play where JMO passes it to Jahmyr Gibbs when we need to get back in this game. I don't think he's that confident in Jared Goff as a whole.
Jared Goff. The reason Jared Goff is in Detroit was because his last coach wasn't confident in Jared Goff. Like we've already been told straight to our faces that like, yo, I can't win with this guy. I need another guy, and then that guy was inserted into the offense, and the Rams held up a Super Bowl. So you know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's not like this is something that we didn't already know. This isn't anything new. This is information that has already been presented to us.
Yeah. And I mean, just Commanders, man. I mean, at this point, you can't really doubt them anymore. If you want to stay away from this Eagles game, don't blame you, but you can't feel confident that they're going to cover that spread or even win the game. But once again, the turnover battle, 5 turnovers, 4 picks, 1 from JMO, 3 from Goff, and a fumble. It's hard to come back from that. And if those things don't happen, completely different ball game. That's what it comes down to. You're doing all these blitzes. The rookie isn't biting. He's mistake free. He's doing what he needs to do. And they were having trouble stopping the run. I mean, Brian Robinson was averaging 5 yards a carry. Austin Eckler was averaging 7 yards a carry.
Right. So it was basically whatever they wanted to do against the defense, which again, we saw this from this Lions defense in 3 different other games down the stretch. You know what I'm saying? Like when they played the Rams, we saw this out of the Lions defense. And then when they played the Bills, we saw this out of the Lions defense. So I mean, we really shouldn't have been too shocked. And I don't necessarily even think that it was shock. It was just like at that point, we had trusted Aaron Glenn to kind of, figure it out on defense. And then we just trusted Detroit to show up. And in these games where, you're supposed to just trust the more talented team to show up, that pressure, it hits you, man. It hits you. And I don't know when it hit them, but at some point you could tell. I mean, Amon St. Brown slipped. The reason that Jared Goff had the first fumble when they were getting ready to actually score to be up two possessions is because when he dropped back, he was going to pass the ball to Amon St. Brown because he was getting guarded by Frankie Louvu, and he slips on the route, or Bobby Wagner. He was actually even work. Yeah, so it was Amon on Bobby Wagner. Obviously, that's where you're going with the ball. Mm-hmm. He was going to go there, but out of all the times in the world, this is the time where Amon slips on the route. So he has to hold the ball for an extra second. Boom, that extra second causes a fumble. Redskins drive down, score a touchdown. You know what I mean? It's like it's just that little detail right there in an important game like this one can cost you everything, because it did. It's over for them now. It's over.
And speaking of Sun God, man, words are powerful, man. You wanted to pop that shit about Diami Brown. Now, obviously, St. Brown had 137 on 8 catches, but Diami Brown, we keep talking about, well, it's just Terry McLaurin and who's going to step up. 2 games in a row, he's stepping up, and now he clapping back at you, talking about, I don't know if that guy had a catch. He had some catches in a crucial moment that kind of you guys are going to be coming back in the next season feeling like you guys just lost the Super Bowl.
I mean, he's the one who caught the bomb. He's the one who caught the I guess, like the game-sealing bomb, if you want to call it that, because at that point, it was like, all right, yeah, I don't know if they come back from this. He caught it. And I mean, it was a dot, but he brought that bitch down.
It
So
just this game just felt like the Commanders sucked all the energy and aura and took their whole script. Now where are the media darlings?
I'm
Now
telling you,
where are those guys? Our coach, his name is Dan too. What's up?
I, I mean,
What's
bro,
up?
I'm not even like, and I mean, I'm feeling it as the game's going. I'm telling you, this is the Commanders look like how Green, like they looked, they moved, they played just like how Green Bay did it last year. I mean, you saw what Jordan Love looked like in the playoff game against Philly this weekend, last weekend, and compared to what he was doing
Terrible.
against us, it was like same thing, dots on the money, players wide open, running game, smashing us, passing game, smashing us. Like,
And
you
it's
know,
just funny because on top of that, besides the whole media darling, new guys on the block. I mean, they even have a backfield by committee. They have like the Timu version of what y'all got with Sonic and Knuckles, and they carving you up on the other side too. So it's like,
but I mean, but if in also Eckler defense, if there was a time, if I got anything left in me, I'm gonna give it to you today. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Aaron Jones did to us. It was like, look, I don't know how many yards I got left, but I got 130 for y'all tonight. Yeah, and also Eckler did his thing. I mean, and Robinson was running hard. Like they couldn't stop him.
yeah, man. So just a coaching masterclass, and at a certain point, and we talked about this off air, but they gotta switch up how they do these coaching hires. Like, I mean, if you're a Lions fan, it's just like spitting on the casket that all right, not only you going to a division rival, we know we're going to lose to DC, but you're already in contact with Dennis Allen. You planning all that shit out already. Well, if you're focused on that, how focused is Aaron Glenn? Because there's mistakes on both sides of the ball, and you should be locked in on this. It doesn't feel like y'all were very locked in on this. Maybe if it wasn't for these interviews and you getting ready for your pitch deck or however that process really goes, maybe you focus more on, all right, what happens if the man blitz isn't working? He's staying calm and collected in the pocket. How do we switch off from that? Damn, what if we're down two possessions? Or what do we do from there? Are you dialing up a double pass and letting JMO pretty much, you know what I mean?
I mean, I guess I'm assuming the rules are though, like, yo, if he's not completely wide open, don't throw it. But I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what Jamie was thinking because I mean when
bro,
he
the
threw the
dude has
ball, I
been
was like,
he,
oh, he gotta be open. I was like, he has to be open. He would not throw the ball like
that's coaching malpractice though. This nigga has been suspended like twice. He's been in the league for like 3 years. He's been suspended twice. This, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to put that on the for one, he's a wide receiver, biggest ego position in the league. And bro, you could tell him as much as you want, yo, don't throw it. But the pressure of this game, y'all are down, he's gonna want to make a play, man.
Yeah, but again, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm telling you, going in on Monday, I know what the conversation was. Dan Quinn was like, "Oh yeah, I had a week they got one hell of a week. They on everything. They on ESPN talking about how great Aaron Glenn is going to be for the culture for the Jets. They on ESPN talking about how Ben Johnson is this amazing offensive guru, and he's going to change the culture for either Jacksonville or Las Vegas or Chicago. I mean, they hearing that. They hearing that. Dan Quinn had to do this for 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row. He was supposed to be the head coach for Denver. He comes back. And then now he's supposed to be this head coach and this, that, the other thing. So he knows exactly how that week went for them. And he remembers how he got blasted after that week. After that week of interviews and assembling my team for a head coaching job, who Joe Witt
think about what kind of precedent that sets. He had a horrible defensive game in that Packers Cowboys game. That didn't stop him from getting the job. Aaron Glenn's like, man, I already have a great resume and track record. I'm still going to get this. I'm a former Jet.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get this job.
my next employers understand. Like that's what I'm saying. Their mindset is already talking about the next move. Whereas poor Dan Campbell, he over here like, yo, hey, wake up, motherfucker. We still gotta win this game.
And
And
yo,
he can't do nothing about it.
in Austin, it's just crazy. One of the best quotes leading into this weekend was about him being a DC and well, nah, like you're gonna get for as a head coach, I know the offense too, and you're getting a full like that was a great quote, but that's not if I'm the Lions, if I'm the players, if I'm the fans, I'm not trying to hear about this pitch that you're giving to
But again, it's just
prospective teams trying to hire you.
it's the nature of the beast, man. It's just the nature of the beast. And no one felt bad when it was all the teams, you know what I'm saying? Like Detroit Lions didn't feel bad. All the teams that got plucked last year, nobody ever feels bad when it happens to San Francisco. You know what I mean? Like nobody ever feels
it's a part of success. So I know
right.
Lions fans, you're not used to it, but this is just this is how the game
Yeah.
goes. It's
We
how the
can't
game
change the
goes.
rules for the Lions. We ain't changing no motherfucking rules for the Lions. Get your ass here and deal with this pain like the rest of us. I'll pass you a beer. I can show you how this shit gonna go because it's miserable from here on out. It's over for them.
You think it's over though?
For them. It's 100% over. The
Yeah.
guy that was solving the answers for Jared Goff is gone. He's gone. And now the defensive coordinator is gone. The guy that was drawing up all these beast ass plays is out the door.
And now that guy is going with the guy that Jaden Daniels, they're expecting this from him. And then they're going to have more than 4 draft picks this year to shore up that offensive line. And he has the script on y'all and the rest of the division. That division is going to be a bloodbath moving forward. So
it's back to the projects for Detroit. It is back to the projects for Detroit. And I don't feel bad because of that rah-rah, da-da, all that shit that they did all year long, smashing teams out, all of that. And then it was time for you. And then what happened? It got back on them. It got back. This is how you win them, how you lose them. You lose them, how you win them. And, bite knuckles and kneecaps. Yeah, they're not going to care about none of that if they go 7-10 next year. You know what I'm saying? Like now you got to figure out some stuff. Now is Jared Goff a pumpkin? Because bro, I'm telling you, I lost this same type of game last year and we still haven't recovered. So what is it even going to do to Jared Goff? Is he going to be good? Like
the most you can hope for is the chip on the shoulder from getting traded and that team winning a ring immediately. And all the doubts that he's going to get coming off 3 picks
that was all this. That was what this was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like
I'm hip. I'm just trying to give an olive branch of hope for them boys because it's not looking good.
Yeah, and what I always say, hope is not a strategy. It's not a strategy. You know what I mean? We got to be real. I got to be real with myself. Like it's over for them, man. It is, and hopefully Dan Campbell is good enough to get another offensive guru in there, or he's been.
That's going to have to be. That's just going to be a part of his run. You're the rah culture guy. Y'all keep performing with all these weapons, best O-line in the league. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing too. You don't get that high draft pick. You don't get no Penei Sewell at 28, big dog. You don't get you know what I'm saying? You don't get who I mean, you don't get the Jamar Gibbs of the worlds now. Right. Jack Campbell's. You're not getting those game breakers no more. All the game, I mean, you got them on your team still.
You can, but the percentage of you hitting on it because you're picking at the back of the draft now lowers a lot. So hopefully your front office continues to draft well. And yeah, man, but NFC North frauds, none of them make it to the conference championship. That's tough. Hey, man, regular season merchants. It's all good though. We'll see y'all next year, man.
All that 14 wins for what?
I thought
14 wins for what?
I thought it was 15.
No, even worse. 15 wins, bro. For nothing. Hey, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but for this, all right, next up, Rams Eagles. Oh shit, they covered. I didn't even realize that. Or it's a push. Um, yeah, this I really like this game a lot, even though the hate watch went terrible. Saquon went off. Um, but this was a cool little snow game, especially with the snow kind of picking up towards like the middle of the game. So it was kind of like, yo, this is the best time to pass the ball early in the game because it's coming down. We know it's coming down. Shit, it's snowing in Texas right now. Shit. So yeah, man, how'd you feel about this one though?
I mean, Eagles just kind of showed their talent. You know, it's just one of those things where there's just kind of an example of Philly just being simply better than the Rams. You know, they were able to give it to Saquon 26 times. Jalen Hurts gets hurt. He gives you another 70 with a 44-yard scamper on the ground for a tutty. Matt Stafford, he tried his best to put his guys in a position to win. I mean, Spears pass rush, he stayed in the pocket as long as he could in the snowstorm. There's a few times where even Puka and Cup let him down, dropping some passes. Tyler Higbee had a nice game, but even he dropped a few. Um, Kyron Williams, and the announcer actually calls it out before he does it. But the announcer's like, yeah, by the way, with this snow on the ground now and coming down like how it is, the ball gets a little slippery.
Mm-hmm.
3 plays later, ball pokes out. Luckily enough, Philadelphia's right on it, and it couldn't have been at a more opportune time for the Rams, who had just got the ball back and were about to drive. And, it just it's snowstorm magic for Philly and Philly, winter wonderland. Um, they get the dub with it. Kellen Moore, I don't even really have nothing to say to him because at the end of the day, Saquon did all the heavy lifting, and there were still times where he had some questionable play calling that could have really ruined this game for Philadelphia had the Rams been able to score on that last drive of the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the stats of this game, very similar, like evenly matched, even down to the amount of penalties. They both had the same amount of penalties. Once again, hammering this home comes down to the turnover battle. Now, Philly had 2 fumbles themselves, but they didn't lose any.
Well, they did get the touchback though. They did the safety. I guess that would count as a turnover.
Yeah, right. But in terms of like the field position game, they didn't lose any fumbles, whereas the Rams had 3 and lost 2, and they came at crucial times in the game. So, and then when it comes to the sacks, Jalen Hurts was sacked 7 times, but Stafford was sacked 5. I mean, the Rams had more yards on offense, 402 yards. Now that mainly came in the passing game, where it came for the 350 for the Eagles, came in the running game. But it's kind of crazy how there was plenty of chances for the Rams to win this one. I mean, it was possible, but it never really felt like the Eagles were really going to lose this one, if that makes sense.
The Eagles' talent always showed when they needed it to show. You know what I mean? Like whether it was Jalen Carter getting a sack on 3rd down to get them off the field, whether it was Jalen Carter punching the ball out. Because I think it was Jalen Carter, but someone actually punched the ball out.
It was Jalen Carter. Right. I remember that play.
And then was it
the
Chauncey?
Guy's nasty, huh?
Yeah, and was it Chauncey that picked it up?
Oh, CJ
Chauncey Gardner.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It was like their start. I mean, Saquon, the Jalen Hurts audibles out of whatever bullshit Kellen Moore called, and audibles in to a QB. You know what I mean? Just a HB.
Bro, you gotta stop talking about your future coach like that, man.
Bro, I can talk about him any way I want. He's my future coach, but he might not be. So I mean, regardless, it's still that whole situation is bad. But they audible into the perfect play, and Saquon is the only person who seemed as if he wasn't running in the snow. Scampers off 78-yard tutty buddy. Like, I mean, it showed at, he's doing this with a messed up hand. He had hurt his hand. I think he might have broke his hand or broke his wrist, or at least fractured it a little bit earlier in the game in the second quarter, and he's still able to go out there and do his thing. Got to give credit to Philadelphia's offensive line. I mean, they were creating the holes, mauling these guys, and yeah, Saquon did the rest. So again, and on defense, I know Quinyon Mitchell ended up exiting the game with an injury, but still, Darius Slay was all over the place. I mean, they shut Cooper Kupp down. Puka, it looks like Puka had a Puka game, but really he didn't even start getting off till probably maybe like 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean that play, that catch, that was like the catch of the weekend. That was crazy.
For sure.
That was a crazy play. I mean, Matt Stafford had a great game. He did all he could really do. His rushing yards was at 0.5, and I was like, man, all he has to do is scramble one time, he could get that. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to take that. Even, you know what I mean? But even that, he looked like an old ass man in that scramble. And of course, it looked like
his rib.
Yeah, like he fucking broke a rib on that play.
39-year-olds playing against them crazy ass Giants they got over there in Philly.
Yeah. Speaking of Quinyon going down a bit, and I'm not saying Saquon wouldn't have still killed him towards the second half of the game, because these running backs, whether it's Derrick Henry, Saquon, they tend to get more active later in the game when the defense is a little bit more tired and battered and whatnot. But Brandon Fisk did go out early. That's their rookie D tackle. That might have helped out a bunch. I mean, he was definitely needed for that second half, so that was unfortunate for them. But
they probably would have just pushed his ass out the way too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the boy, I mean, we got, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, hey, Jared Verse did his thing. I mean,
no. In the passing game, yeah. But obviously the sucky part about it was they weren't able to put them in those passing down situations where they could rush the passer. When they did, they got to him.
Which was the game plan. Which is, we can't let Saquon beat us. And they did it to y'all again, because both those games combined, I think he had like 450 total, because they played him earlier in the year and he had over 200 yards. Yeah, 4 touchdowns. So he's the Ram Slayer. You gotta give him that title right now. But it was dope seeing this game, because we have 2 defensive stars on the edge. Jared Verse was talking shit before the game, and Jalen Carter came and met him pre-game. I know you saw that clip, and them jawing at each other. But I like seeing Jared Verse play, man. I think he's like a future defensive player of the year. He just feels like a 5-year vet already. So the good news for the Rams.
It's like 24 years old.
Oh, yeah, so he's a little bit older rookie.
Yeah, the transfers and COVID and all that shit.
Right. But the good thing for the Rams is y'all mortgage your future for a Super Bowl, and y'all been drafting well. You're going to have more picks moving forward. If they keep drafting like this, man, that division got to watch out just in general. Yeah. I think, the Niners' time might be over it also depends on how much Matt Stafford has left in the tank, of course. But, this is a game they could have had if it wasn't. And this was when the conditions come into play, which is ironic because Detroit was fighting for that 1 seed so they could play in their dome, and y'all still couldn't take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Like, that's tough.
Matchups be a motherfucker sometimes, And that's the craziest thing. I mean, the Rams, at the end of the day, these motherfuckers were really a game. They were probably maybe a few plays away from hosting the conference championship game. You know what I mean? Like, they were a few plays away from but yeah.
And then would have brought the East Coast guys to the West. That would have been great for them.
Right. But, so I mean, it is what it is, though. And at the end of the day, you don't get to this point in the draft. I mean, in the playoffs without having it. And Philly, they had enough. So we'll see what Jalen Hurts' injury is looking like this week when the reports come out. But, I'm assuming he's going to be able to try to play or at least going to thug it out for a little bit. Probably off a perk 30 or maybe a perk 60 for real. And yeah,
Yeah,
he's going to have to make it happen.
he was
Yeah.
definitely high as a bitch. That interview. I was like, yo, what is he yapping about?
Hey,
He's
he was good.
usually
Good.
he's usually like a politician, and this nigga
Yeah.
sounds zooted.
Right.
But
So,
yeah, that's definitely going to be a big factor going into that Commanders game this weekend is his health. We'll see how that pans out, but yeah, man, Eagles handle business. The roster's stacked per usual. So, I mean, this is going to be a tough out regardless. You can't feel too bad if you're the Rams, to be honest. But once again, it comes down to their turnover battle, and they just lost fumbles at crucial times. And then,
yeah.
the spread was a push for that reason. But yeah, man, my favorite play of the game, though, speaking of Jalen Hurts' injury, was it was after he got hurt a bit, right? And you could tell it was like they're on the goal line. You could tell they didn't really want to do the touch push because usually they would do the little BBL push. So they ran it twice with Saquon, got stuffed. I think it's like fourth down, third or fourth down. I think it's fourth down though.
Yeah,
And yeah, and the snow is starting to pour on, and it just looks like I'm watching like 300 or Game of Thrones or some shit. It just felt like that. And they go for the BBL push, get it, penalty. So it sets them back a little bit. And I was like, damn, that was tough. And obviously, I'm rooting against the Eagles. So I was like, damn, they got it. But that shit looked so cool, and it didn't count. So that was my favorite part of the game, to be honest, because it was like, yo, Jalen, I know you're not feeling well, but, bro, this is automatic. We need you.
Yeah, and he was going to do it. He did it, and it was a false start on Lane Johnson out of all people.
But yeah, last game, Ravens Bills. Oh, before we get into that game, another thing I wanted to bring up with the Commanders game, I forgot. Yo, do you think that he's going to start like a trend? Jaden Daniels going to start a trend with his like VR headset, like workouts, what he does for his mental. You know what I'm talking about?
I mean, if you want to be good, like you should probably incorporate something along the lines of that.
Because there has to be a factor in this like legendary best quarterback rookie season. Because he said that the game, like it makes it so like in real time, it slows things down for him.
Well, for my dad, like because we talked about that yesterday, and one of the things he said, it kind of again goes back to the situation. Yeah, it might slow everything down for you, but if you don't got no pass rushers rushing after him, obviously, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he is in the game, and it is slowed down for him, and that's why you see him doing his little pat, taking his time, rolling out, pat, and he makes a play or whatever. But if you have certain players, if you have a pass rush, if Jake, what's his name,
Hayden Hutchinson.
If Hayden Hutchinson's playing, you know what I'm saying? That don't matter because he's on your head. You know what I mean? When he played against Micah, that don't matter because those guys are speeding you up, and they hurt.
Yeah, but regardless, his like what everyone's praising him for, as they should, because it looks crazy, is his poise in the pocket. So I mean, obviously, there's going to be a pass rush, but still, in terms of like preparation,
it would be smart for players to incorporate this into their resume. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just part of the evolution of technology, gaining an advantage, like, and also you're resting your body. You don't have to be outside in 98-degree heat in Texas or wherever these cats are training at, California, and you're throwing your arm out. He can be in a nice little space in his basement, you know what I mean? And he's getting the same reps. At least to him, it feels that way. So, you know what I'm saying? I think that if the organization or the quarterback cares about winning, they should probably incorporate this
they should
technology.
definitely look into that. Hey, I'm calling it right here. There's going to be he's going to have like a little sponsorship deal with that company. They're going to promo that shit. I think that's going to be like a new thing that more quarterbacks in general look into, and I think it's going to be a part of the
I mean, if
game.
they haven't already, because he got that at LSU. He brought that from LSU over to Washington. So I don't know if that was in the article that you watched or listened to or whatever I read, but that so there's college teams that already have that technology. You know what I mean? It's and so who knows how many young bulls are already in on that work, and the NFL is just following up behind, or
Like they usually do.
yeah. So he a YN at the end of the day. Jaden Daniels is a YN, so he probably he got an edge over these boys right now, and hopefully if you want to win, you probably going to look into something similar to that, if not that brand, So, but if you don't want to win, then don't worry about the VR set.
Yeah, Shador, look into that VR set if you haven't already. Dion, get on that boy. But yeah, back to it. Last game, Ravens Bills. Um, yeah, man, game of the week. Lived up to expectations. Kind of got robbed of a potential overtime clash at the end, or a Josh Allen like kind of nail in the coffin 2-minute drill, fourth quarter drive to prevent overtime. But how do you feel about this game? Because I have a similar sentiment to like the past two games when it comes over to turnovers.
I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation. The cool thing about football and the cool thing about turnovers is you always have a chance to redeem yourself. And Lamar had a few nasty turnovers in the first half, and then Mark Andrews didn't help him get one later in the fourth quarter. But at the end of the day, there was enough time left for all of that to not even matter. You know what I mean? They had a chance to tie this game up, play some strong defense, get in overtime, and possibly make something happen. Unfortunately, they ran a play. Mark Andrews didn't catch the ball. That's the nature of the beast sometimes, So, I mean, they played well. Ravens played good. They fought hard. Just got to be a winner and a loser in this thing. And they ended up being Baltimore this week.
Yeah, man, it's crazy because it damn near comes down to like those four plays, two each, Lamar and Mark Andrews. Besides that Jared Goff pick, this was like the other ugliest pick of the weekend. That was bad. Then he fumbled in the second quarter. They didn't take advantage of the turnover with that first pick, but they scored a touchdown off that fumble. And then the fumble that Mark Andrew had, it was like it was like he was trying to be like Kelsey or something. It's like, bro, just go, what I mean? Go north and south, man. Stop trying to. That's not your game, bro. It's not your game. They're going to be going after the ball. It's cold. Shit is tense, and that was crucial as well. And Bills just made less mistakes when it comes down to it. And once again, you win the turnover battle in these crucial games. That's typically all you really have to go back and look at for who edged it out when you guys are like equally yoked like this.
Yeah. And I mean, even with the turnover battle, this is the only place where it's like, yeah, even with the turnover battle, it's like still had a chance to make something happen. It just happens, And it's like even Josh Allen, he didn't even throw the ball. He didn't even throw the ball. He averaging 5 yards per catch, 6 yards per catch, 127 yards. Like they were good with it. Keep it on the ground. It is what it is. We're gonna run it 10 times. We're gonna get 2 tutties. We're gonna give it to him a little bit. We're gonna use all our backs. We're gonna keep the clock flowing. Clear secures a security blanket, and we're gonna get out of here safe. They were lucky enough for that to happen. And shout out to Joe Brady. He called that game. He took the philosophy of Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. We don't gotta look sweet today. We just gotta get out of here safe. It's nasty, it's cold.
Baltimore needs to take a page out of that book because there's no reason why James Cook should have more carries than him. You averaging 5 yards a carry. I mean, sometimes you just gotta. It might seem like we're going to mix it up because it
I
looks
mean,
too obvious.
they did though, because like Hill was running pretty well too. Like I saw a few runs where he got like 10 to 13 yards. I'm like, okay,
All
so it's
right,
like they
so
did run it heavy.
Hill needed about 4 or 5 more carries then, and so did Derrick Henry. Give them 4 to 5 carries more each because they were running well. Some more design runs like y'all usually do. Just
And I don't
feels
think I
like
don't think
year
Pat
after year the Ravens just kind of tighten up in these spots, and the Bills just came in with a better game plan. It seems like,
or they just didn't. Yeah, they you know what I'm saying. They just were like, all right, we've been here and we lost this way. We've seen this other team win this way. This is what we're gonna do. I think we got the guys to do it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. They used every running back on the active roster, damn near. Like, and then they ran it with the quarterback twice. So that's just a significant amount of ball control. And then I know they got a 30-yard play from Khalil, but even outside of the 30-yard play, it's almost like every time he was catching the ball, you know what I mean? He catching it for like close to a first down. So, he's the security blanket that is able to get open on the inside. And yeah, they just did what they had to do to win. And due to all the blunders that the Bills have had in the past, they they were able to rein it in, control the
learn
clock,
from that.
yeah, learn and execute, execute the game plan. We got no nut shit from Josh Allen, and maybe it's because Joe Brady was like, "Yo, I got a plan for us to not do nothing nutty today," and Josh was like, "All right, bet." So it worked itself out. I respect it. People are going to. I don't know if they're going to bring up the lack of yards or whatever, or if they're not catching on to this is the clear way that you win in January. You know what I mean? There's a clear way that you win in January. Be efficient, get the first down, run the ball, control the clock, try to limit turnovers, get in the end zone, and let's go home.
Yeah, let's get out of there. And I mean, so I had 2 picks in the last show. One was Texans to cover, and if I took it at that time, then they wouldn't have covered. But if you took it later, a lot of people bet same day, they would have covered. And then I had the Bills, and the reason why I had the Bills was because I've just seen Josh Allen perform and rein it in the playoffs more times than I've seen Lamar. And you have the Bills at home. So I was just like, look, I would like Lamar to make it past this point, but I'm just going to go with what I've seen before. And a couple weeks ago when we were talking about the MVP discussion, what was one of your main points? He only had 4 picks, and like 2 or 3 of them bitches wasn't even his fault.
Right. And I'm
And
not
then,
going into that. I'm not going into because that Rashad Bateman that could have been on, but it's a pick in the playoffs. I get it. So I'm not going into all that with that miscommunication on that route. But yeah.
but still, it's that other pick we can't have that. You're playing Josh Allen, you're in Buffalo. One, you know what I mean? Like, where's the clean games that we've gotten from Lamar all season? Y'all played him earlier, smashed them out.
See, I still relatively. That's the thing. I relatively think he had a good game.
No, he had a good
Like he
game,
like you know
bro.
what I'm saying. And it's
He
like
had a good
like
game, but like
he
it came
you know what I
down to
mean.
the
Like
turnovers, and he's been clean with the turnovers all year until it came to this point, and that's
right,
the
but
game.
but you got a 90. If I told Lamar, yo, you got no turnovers and to win the football game, you got to go 94 yards. I bet you got 5 turnovers and to win the football game, you got to go 94 yards. Shit, let's get it. Like you know what I'm saying? Like he got the most optimal, and I'm not talking about the fans or what people in the. I'm saying the athlete himself, Lamar. I get a chance to redeem myself. I get a chance to tie the game up. All I gotta do is go 94 yards. I don't care about what happened. Sign me up for that. You know what I mean? And he
Yeah,
had an opportunity.
I'm not saying he
And
had a bad game, but it's like, bro, you had four you had 4 picks all year.
right,
Half of them weren't your fault. And you get into the biggest, obviously, they went against the Chiefs, and that's the next biggest game of the season, obviously. But this is you versus Josh Allen. This is the MVP Bowl. and we're throwing egregious picks. Like
See,
we're
that's what I'm
throwing
saying.
a
I was
pick.
like, I
You're
don't.
throwing a pick that
To me, it didn't look. It was just like, oh, okay. Like I was like, all right, I didn't look like an egregious pick to me because
we talking about the same play.
pressure. Yeah, he's getting pressure up the middle. Tell me if I'm wrong. Because I watched from all 22. But it's like he gets pressure up the middle, right? And as he's getting pressure up the middle, Rashad Bateman is running out. He's running out. So what he has to do is what CJ Stroud was doing it all game last in the game on Saturday. He's running it out, and when he knows that he's running it out, so instead of Rashad Bateman going all the way upfield, he cuts on the route, and Lamar has to guess where he might be going, and again, he can't step into the throw, so he just lets it go, and it completely sails over Rashad Bateman's head into obviously, you know what I'm saying, and it's like that's football, bro. That's what happens when you got pressure in your face. You got to guess where the wide receiver is going to go. And the wide receiver didn't go where he thought he was going to go. The wide receiver did something else. You know what I mean? It's just he did something else. But again, I'm not saying that it isn't someone's fault or whatever, but it's just that shit happens. That shit happens on that play. He didn't get to wait until Rashad Bateman, you know what I'm saying, even look back for the ball. He threw the ball before Rashad Bateman was even looking for the ball. Ball was already up in the air. And I'm not saying that it's not Lamar's fault or whatever, but it's just how the game goes. Defense got to get a stop. You know what I mean? It's not like because the thing, again, we got to go back to even just last Super Bowl. Didn't Pat Mahomes have an egregious interception at the beginning to start the second half of that game?
Yeah, but that's just deflecting, bro. We're not talking about.
But I'm just saying because it's like we mad about turnovers, but it's like, bro, we can get that shit back.
You
can throw a turnover and still win the championship.
It'd be a lot. Yeah, but when it comes down to it, so every team that lost a turnover battle lost. So it still comes down to Josh Allen had a cleaner game, and whether it comes down to the game plan or whatever, maybe if they ran the ball more, they wouldn't be put in that situation to throw that pick or some of these. Or I think it was like a RPO where he fumbled the ball.
And he couldn't throw the ball away because there was a lineman downfield.
Right. So
you know what I mean? So it's like how it goes.
I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, there it goes. There it goes. Yeah, I'm about to share. We'll take a look at this. Stop. Present. All right. It's about right here. All right, play. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's probably talking.
Yeah, he's probably talking. Yeah, he's probably talking. All right.
I think Bateman had the right idea. He needed to be he needed to be where he was. This is a mistake from Lamar Jackson. It's not just a missed throw. It's I think the wrong read on the play. Because of this, I mean, it ends up being an all too easy interception for the Buffalo Bills. So, yeah, not an ideal turnover there. That would be the first. It would not be the last. Then this one, which was really a killer because they're in field goal range, having a really nice drive. It's second down and 10. So, you're feeling good about yourself. Even after the interception, you've kind of, the defense held. You kind of, settled down here. So first, there's going to be a bit of a botched snap. It's just a bit off, but with the conditions, it's enough for Lamar to kind of have trouble handling it. You see that he's going down. And for the life of me, I don't get why he doesn't just go down here. That's what he should be doing. Instead, he kind of just drops the football. I mean, it wasn't hit or anything. He just lost it. You gotta be protecting that better. And because he lost it, it could have been a touchdown. Justice Hill did a good job at running down Von Miller, but still, it's a bad play from Lamar Jackson.
That shit don't happen. Baltimore's up.
Yeah, I mean, but again, it's football, and they overcame it. Like that's all you can ask for, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's we would like to have a perfect brand of football, and the teams that won this week did. But we've seen playoff games where the teams that, you know what I mean, turn the ball over, still manage to win the game. You still get opportunities throughout the game. You know what I'm saying? Like that, both of those turnovers, they're in the second half. He got his shit together.
Yeah, and like you said, and this is why it's a complete team sport. You can't put this all on Lamar because, like you said, he did make that back. He had a chance to tie it up. It was a good play call. Fucking Dalton called me and was like, "Yeah, I was dumb. They should have headed off to Derrick Henry." I'm like, "How was it dumb, nigga? The nigga was open. It's your tight end in the red zone, and that's what I don't like about some of the discourse is like if he catches that, you not saying that, and then if they ran it with Derrick Henry and they stuffed him, then there's people like, oh, that was obvious. Y'all should have did this.
Like if someone would say like, okay, out of the 2 times that I went for it on 4-2, I would like to probably give it to Derrick Henry one of those times. I feel I would understand more. I would understand more with that. You know what I mean? Because that's not a hindsight 2020 thing. That's all right, you don't have to give it to him the first time, but maybe the second time we should give it to him. Or like he just scored a touchdown. Maybe he hot right now. We should just, you know what I'm saying? Him and the O-line are hot right now. And they kind of just demoralize the defense. Maybe we should just let D. Henry do this thing real quick. Like I'm more so like ready to agree with that, other than so they just gave it to Derrick Henry. Like yeah, you know what I mean. But also, if you tell me that Lamar is going to throw it right to Mark Andrews' lap, and it's going to be wide open for a 2-point conversion, I'm not going to be like, oh no, that's a bad play. Like
even the first 2-point conversion, I mean, he was open. It was Matt Milano just made a good and the casual viewers, they sometimes they just don't understand you got to give some credit to the defense. Sometimes the defense just makes a great play on the ball. It doesn't mean it was a bad offensive play call. It doesn't mean that Ravens offense, the Todd Monken, we need to set on a stake.
Like the ambulance tackling Lamar like that. I ain't have him doing that. That would have been in my bingo card that the ambulance can shoestring tackle Lamar Jackson 1-on-1 in the
backfield. His name now? Is that his name now?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that was one hell of a play by Buddy. It is just like how many times have we seen Lamar have 1-on-1 with some of the best defenders in the NFL and he just shakes them out of their shoes. And we probably all thought at the beginning of that play, oh, Lamar about to do some crazy shit. It's just this was the one time where the ball falls out. So now, Monday morning quarterback is allowed to go on because it's true and it happened and be like, oh, what was he doing here? Like we don't got 8 years of probably 18 years of film of Lamar Jackson dancing on a motherfucker just in that same scenario off of a botch snap.
Hey, that's that Michael Rubin voodoo magic. Get DeMar Hamlin making some key plays. Better than that trick play they tried, that fucking Disney movie bullshit that they did in that one playoff game with them. Remember that shit?
See, nah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it just was and again, that's one hell of a play by the ambulance. It's one hell of a play, bro. For him to grab on to Lamar's ankle like that to the point where Lamar was like, oh shit, like it spun him all the way around. Like, hey, that you need that in a playoff game. You need Jalen Carter punching the ball.
I was just about to bring that back up. Yeah, Jalen Carter. And he's instinctive like that. Like there's plenty of times, even that shit he tries to do on, I think it's QB kneels or spikes, or I forget what he tries to do, but he tries to go underneath the center and mess that simple, like textbook play up, like routine play up. Like it's those type of plays that the defense definitely needs more credit for, instead of being like, oh, it's not a video game, man. Yeah, like it's not a video game, man. Like these get paid too.
And another thing too, we got to give a shout out. All the interceptions, none of them were dropped. No one dropped the. Well, Slade dropped the interception in the game early in the game. He dropped the would-be interception, but you know what I mean? Sandstill or whatever, the guy number 0 from.
Bro, it's like you're reading my mind. I was just about to bring him up because I think it's interesting that, and then this is why front office matters. This is why Ben Johnson was like he crossed the Jags off the list because it's like, yo, if Trent Baalke's going to be here, then this is not even a move for me, even though that's an easier division for him to go into with the AFC South. It's like they come in, look, Emmanuel Forbes, different regime. Y'all drafted him. Get him out of here. We got this Sandersill kid. He had what, 2 picks this weekend?
Yeah, 2 picks. And one of them did come straight to him, but the one right before halftime, that was a good pick. Like that was J-Mo had him beat. He catches up and he undercuts the pass from Golf and he snags it. He snags it. Like that was a hell of a play. Like
this nigga is gonna be in J-Mo's dreams, boy.
I mean, he's from Michigan, so that was homecoming for him. You know what I'm saying? The more you know, you know. You probably would have preferred that was Lattimore. Probably would have preferred that was Marshawn Lattimore. But you know, it's just
Lattimore had a decent game too, a little makeup game.
You know, and so yeah, like these cats. Everyone acts like just anyone can catch all these picks or whatever, but nah, these DBs they will drop some, and they're important.
Well, that's why they're on defense, man.
Right,
they had hands like that. They might be receivers.
You know, so. Right. You got a shout out to him. Shout out to Taylor Rapp for catching his. So, and you know, defense, they get paid too. They're professionals also. But yeah, man, all around, I just think that was a complete football game by the Bills. And you know, again, disappointing for the Ravens. But you know, hey, it's I don't think it's over for them. But yeah, they're gonna be waiting. They're gonna be waiting.
They got to regroup, and so with the AFC, I mean, bro, you got Pat Mahomes. It's not gonna be every year that Joe Burrow doesn't make the playoffs. I mean, hopefully they start spending a little bit more money over there, or hopefully their owner hits on a big parlay and gets some more bread since he's the poorest owner. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tough, but that's what happens. There's plenty. No matter what sport it is, there's typically one guy or one team or a team or two that stops old-time talents from getting to the big show.
And I also, just real quick before we dead this jump, I do want to say this because people have revisionist history, and people got to remember Peyton Manning hadn't won shit his 7th or 8th year in the NFL.
Shit, his rookie year was trash.
Right. You know what I mean? But it's like he had all these MVPs, all these regular season accolades, all these history book seasons, all these record-breaking wide receivers, record-breaking wide receiver tandems, and he did not win anything until I think it was his 8th season in the NFL. And even when he did win, it wasn't even off the back of his arm. You know what I mean? Like everybody's trying to, he's got this, that, and other thing. Yo, he got a lot of football left to play. Lamar does, and yes, it is true. Just because you get here one time, don't mean you're obligated to get back here, but he hasn't been there yet. And you know what I mean? Everybody is so impatient on all of these players. Like this just isn't a talented brand of football that's being played right now. These cats got hella time. They got hella time. Lamar's 28 years old. He's not even 30 yet.
It's a catch-22 because I mean Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes, they're all in the same age group, so they got plenty of time to do their thing. They're thinking the same.
Right, but that's how they should think. That's how they should think. I'm not discrediting them for thinking that way too. You know what I mean? Josh Allen still ain't won shit either. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, even if he don't win this year, all right, bro, we still got a lot more time with Josh Allen. That's what I'm trying to allude to. It don't matter if it's whoever the name is. You can put the name as CJ, whoever. These cats don't just come in, and even the best of the best ever, they didn't just come in and kill it. You know what I mean? We remember.
Imagine if social media was around for those early Peyton Manning years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He'd have to get himself a BlackBerry and just be on a call-only phone.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? But that's the thing. It's like, that's why I said people have revisionist history, and they don't even remember how the people we consider the greats, they don't even remember how they won their games, bro. There's people that think, you know, they talk about how Tom Brady's the GOAT and all that, and he is. But it's like, bro, they had a playoff run and won the Super Bowl when they only scored two touchdowns on offense.
Defense wins championships.
So, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from Tom Brady, But now I'm talking to you about the game, and you didn't even know that he ain't even had no damn touchdowns. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like he was out here killing shit, and they was taking his team down the field, because the last Tom Brady we remember is the Tom Brady that could light your ass up for 5 touchdowns. You know what I mean?
The Tom Brady, you start thinking about those Randy Moss years where he had like 5,000 yards. And I think that year Randy Moss got the record for most touchdowns in the season. He had like 20 touchdowns, but guess who knocked him off? But that's what comes to mind. It doesn't come to those ugly games where defense wins it for him and he just limits the turnovers. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's the revisionist history. Nobody, again, not even trying to bring this up like that, but people forget he had 3 turnovers, 3 interceptions in the first half against Green Bay in 2020. Don't matter, did they do it?
All that matters is those results, man.
You know what I'm saying?
What does that scoreboard say? What does your ring finger look like?
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when it's all said and done, they'll probably even itself out for some of these cats. You know, and I just hope that, you know, people can appreciate the football is getting played and these talents while we got it, because there'll be a new batch of kids and they'll still be good, but it won't be no Lamar, or it won't be no Josh Allen, or it might not be the winning consistency of Pat Mahomes, you know. So appreciate this shit. Don't spend your time hating on all of it, you know.
It's so crazy because it was like somebody had to lose this game, man. So somebody had to lose. Josh Allen, whether it's Lamar, and these are old-time talents we're looking at. Crazy weekend, but Lamar, I think he'll be back, man. And that's why you got to keep making moves as a front office and retooling and doing what you got to do, because the Bills, a lot of people counted the Bills off in the offseason because they lost all these pieces or whatever. You got to keep retooling. These are 53-man rosters. There's a lot that goes into it. Offense, defense, special teams. Plenty of sports where it's just offense and defense. Plenty of sports where it's the same players playing both offense and defense. This is chess. But yeah, man. Next time you see us, we'll break down, give our preview of conference championships Sunday. What is it? Commanders, Eagles first, Bills, Chiefs. The hate watch is going terrible. I'm gonna be rooting for Jaden Daniels. This nigga Saquon, bro. This nigga, bro. The silver lining for me is that a good portion of our fan base is off this. We gotta get Abdul Carter, or we gotta trade down and get like Will Johnson, or pair decks up with Mason Graham. Yeah, cut that shit out, bro. We need a quarter. We're at pick 3. We're getting Shador. It's just annoying, bro. It's just annoying, but hey, man, these guys earned it, you know?
Yeah, so, rather be there than be inside, so it's what it is.
Yeah, but like and subscribe, matter of fact, cut it out at the hour 30 mark. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the games. Hopefully some parlays hit for y'all. One hit for me. DraftKings back in Texas, it got the withdraw. That shit hit today,
Very good.
Yeah, we straight. All right, man, we out.